Assalamu alaikum. It is my great pleasure to have this big gathering today to talk about a very sensitive and current challenges facing job creation worldwide, specifically in the Arab MENA region. I'm very pleased to see a big number of women entrepreneurs that are with us here today because especially in the Arab region, economic empowerment for women now is very essential and very crucial, and it is in the forefront of any economic activity happening in our region. You know, we have 6 distinguished speakers. We're going to have a video statement from Her Excellency Sheikh Hind Al Khalifa. We'll provide it later. And we're going to have around 1:30 under the patronage of His Excellency Mr. Zayed Rashid Al-Zayani, the Minister of Industry and Commerce and Tourism in Bahrain, where he's going to graduate a number of Bahraini entrepreneurs, which they are part of what we call the Bahrain model, or the Enterprise Development and Investment Promotion Program in the UN terminologies. I will just start by reading a small statement on positioning the Arab region to innovation and entrepreneurship. I will start with a study which have been developed in AICEI. It was this study, we have asked for it and we commissioned that study. In the year 2000, there was a discussion on a number of Arab countries to join the World Trade Organization. But the big problem and the concern was the SMEs, the existing and the future startups in the Arab region. What will happen, you know, when those countries will lift their trade barriers? And also at that time, we have been facing difficulties in what we call mobilization of foreign direct investment from different countries to our region and to sub-Saharan Africa. This have led us to start commissioning this study. The study, it was an empirical study, 4 countries, Egypt because it's one of the largest in terms of population in the Arab region, Lebanon because it has a history of innovation and creativity vis-a-vis other Arab countries, Jordan, it is a country with limited resources, and Bahrain as part of the oil Gulf countries, and also because our office was here in Bahrain. The findings of that study was weak entrepreneurship culture, demographic and economic indicators project that the Arab requires more than 100 million jobs by 2015. I'm saying this was in the year 2000. We have envisaged what could have happened on what do they call the Arab Springs, because we need to create more than 100 million jobs. And I would like to also stress it's still a big problem to create 100 million jobs by 2025, or we will continue having problems, havocs, conflicts and strikes of what we're seeing every day. Now we're having Algeria, we're having Sudan, and most of the Arab countries, you know, they're facing the same problem. It's all from economic needs, it's all for creation of jobs for youth and women. Also, the study have found that the inexistence of specialized programs on entrepreneurship development and supporting micro, small, and medium enterprises. Limited support institution targeting entrepreneurs in the area of training, technology, finance, and infrastructure, and mainly incubation. What needs to be done in the study itself, what they have recommended, the development of national specialized programs aimed at creating awareness and stimulating economic empowerment for Arab entrepreneurs, the adoption of programs geared toward entrepreneurship and MSMEs development and that have proven their effectiveness, provide counseling programs aimed at facilitating enterprise growth, developing linkages between financial institutions and entrepreneurship programs, the establishment of business incubators as they play a key role in the development of growth of SMEs through a range of services offered. I will talk briefly on the current status, you know, in the MENA region regarding the challenges facing entrepreneurs. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, says achieving the SDGs requires $5 to $7 trillion with an investment gap in developing countries of about $2.5 trillion. Arab Forum of Environment and Development, in its latest report, reflected that Arab countries need an additional $230 billion annually to implement the SDGs, with a financing gap of up to $100 billion. They also warned that the bill would rise to much higher amounts depending on the effects of conflict and asylum in the region. The report called for the adaptation of new policies to attract funding from international institutions, regional funds, and the private sector, and to give incentives to banks to produce new products for financing sustainable development. In line with Industrial Revolution 4.0, experts predict that 25% of the jobs we know today will disappear by 2030. This is also exacerbates, the problem and the issue of what are we talking today when we're bringing the digital revolution or the industrial revolution in the forefront for our future economies. Of course, the refugee crisis is also affecting our economic development in the region heavily. Each dollar invested toward raising the profitability of entrepreneurs in the MSMEs increases the level of the family at the same time, leading to a cumulative multiplier effect. MSMEs represent 85 to 85% of total businesses in the region. MENA region is mainly characterized by being a young population with an average of 60% below the age of 29 years. Youth unemployment rate estimates at 20% compared to the world average of 12%. It is the highest worldwide. Female entrepreneurship rates at 15% compared to world average of 31%. Global Financial Inclusion Index in the MENA region scores very low. Formal MSMEs financing gap estimates minimum of $170 billion. With this statement, we're going to share ideas, thinking of what we need to do for the MENA region, and of course, same problems also facing Sub-Saharan Africa and Asian countries and some Latin American countries. I would like to start with Mrs. We have a lady in our session. We're going to have another video statement from another lady. I would like to start with Ahlam Janahi. She is the president of the Bahrain Business Association, to tell us about the association and how they have been working over the last 19 years, I believe, in empowering women and also working with women in the Arab region and other parts of the world.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Hashim. We are Bahrain Businesswomen Society, established in year 2000, celebrating this year our 19th anniversary. Our main goal to empower Bahraini businesswomen members, and we believe that by this time, working 19 years with closely also to UNIDO, to Dr. Hashim, we reached our target. We have a lot of members reached to a decision-making position. The members being trained through UNIDO, through other entities, to empower themselves to develop their businesses, which is very important. They started from startup businesses. All entrepreneurs of BBS members been hardly working, networking internationally through different, entering into different conferences worldwide. We did a lot of MOUs signed between the officials and different universities, and we closely worked with UNIDO, thanks to Dr. Hashim, who given us the international experience of how to expand the businesswomen businesses, plus that it was they've been trained, and today I believe that a number of them will be graduated by UNIDO. And this is on continuous basis, because in business you cannot stop into one position. you have to always get the awareness information, updated information of the businesses, which we believe that our members individually, they are empowering themselves. We congratulate our 8 members that they reached this year to a decision-making positions. We are very proud of each one of them. Even the startups, businesses which they first go to UNIDO offices for their training, they start strong, as we believe, because they know and they study the market first, and then they take the initiative of what they want to do and what is needed in the market, and that's why they, when they start right, they end up with the right decisions and with the right activities.
Thank you very much. Actually, I would like to highlight on what we call the Bahrain model for economic empowerment for women. Our vision 15 years back when we started with the Supreme Council for Women on developing a strategy for empowering women socially, economically, and politically. Our vision from the beginning that the economic empowerment of women will lead to social and political empowerment. And today we are very proud to see that a big number of women that have reached the stage of decision makers. And actually we have Mrs. Zainal, you know, she is the first chairman of National Assembly or a parliament in the Gulf region. And of course, we have nominated a number of women entrepreneurs to be what we call them entrepreneurs ambassador. Halam Janahi is one of them. Actually, the economic empowerment of women, when we started it 18 years back, it led us to take this program into more than 52 countries, from Uruguay to China, to India, to Turkey, to a big number in sub-Saharan Africa, and of course, all the Arab countries. So, and recently, I will leave this later to Dr. Khalid Hanafi on the dialogue of the private sector, you know, to provide their recommendations to the Economic Development Summit in Tunisia. There were 8 recommendations. 2 of them was related to economic empowerment for women and developing entrepreneur center. Dr. Khalid will brief us on the vision of the Arab Union of Chambers of Commerce and Industry and Agriculture later on. I would like to move to my friend and brother, Mr. Bibas Gortas, who I had the honor and pleasure working with him. I'm part of the board of the World Business Angel Forum, which is chaired by Mr. Bibas. Mr. Bibas, I know that you had a long mission to bring together this organization, which is based in Istanbul, and it is one of the most reputed international organizations to support SMEs and entrepreneurs worldwide from a financial inclusion point of view. We'd like if you can brief us on what's happening today worldwide regarding financial inclusions, mainly for entrepreneur startup or at growth, and specifically the World Business Angel Forum, you know, how they view this, what do we lack, and what we need to do, and if we can also look into mainly focusing on the Arab region, on sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Hussein. As you know, WBA, World Business Angels Investment Forum, is one of the G20 partners and also in the board of the Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion, which is chaired by Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. And in 1950s, 60s, invention was very important. But today, innovation is important. As a matter of fact, we have to understand why innovation became more important than invention. Very shortly, innovation is supported by governments, by policymakers more than invention, because it creates new jobs, new wealth, social justice, and new add-on values for societies, for economic development. Of course, in 1950s, anything invented had a ready customer. So you didn't need a set of skills of entrepreneurship to convert your invention to innovation. you were inventing and customer was consuming. That was the process. But today, this is not the case because there is a big competition in the global markets and you need some set of skills to convert your invention to innovation. But developing entrepreneurial skills is not enough. You also need access to finance. But which kind of finance we are talking about? Smart finance. Why? Because only financial support is not also what entrepreneurs of the 21st century need. They need more than finance. They need know-how, mentorship, networking. When we checked the financial instruments in the financial roadmap of entrepreneurs today, we see some basic around 10 different financial instruments. Crowdfunding, angel investors, VCs, co-investment funds, government grants, banks, wealth management institutions, IPO, ICO. These are the main instruments. But only one of them is able to provide more than finance. It is angel investors. Last year, 9.6 billion euro invested in entrepreneurs and startups by 340,000 angel investors in Europe. As a matter of fact, if we are talking about the financial inclusion of all segments of the economy, then we also have to talk more about the more financial inclusion of startups. Sometimes we say startups, sometimes we say entrepreneurs, sometimes we call them as SME. This is not our subject today, but I think we have to understand the mindset of startups first and the mindset of angel investors too. As a matter of fact, angel investment is putting finance, getting equity, and taking the risk together with the startup and entrepreneurs. As a matter of fact, this is 100% compatible financial instrument with Islamic mindset of investment. But when we check the statistics, even it is 100%, even though it is 100% compatible with Islamic mindset of investment, the minimum investment of angel investment is in the Islamic economies. This is very interesting. Last year in the United States, for example, $26 billion invested by 320,000 angel investors. And the total market size of angel investment is around $50 billion in the world. So I think we have to rethink about how we can take the financial inclusion power of angel investors of the MENA region for developing the startup economy also in the region. It is very clear that new jobs, new ideas are coming from startup economy. And startup economy is driven by the young generation. And I think we also have to talk about how we can include more women entrepreneurship in startup economy in another session. But this is what I will say now, and thanking you so much for bringing this important issue to the attention of the region. And I'm also congratulating you because you could achieve convincing UNIDO to open its technology transfer office in Bahrain. It is not something easy to make it happen. And I think such kind of initiatives will also empower the innovation ecosystem, not only of Bahrain, but of the region.
Yes, thank you, Bybers. One of the most important requirement of financial inclusion today when we talk about business angels. And as you have said, rightly, it goes in line with Islamic finance. And I remember last year in the World Business Angel Forum Congress in Istanbul, we had the panel, which was headed by Sheikh Ibrahim, the chairman of IOFI, and also the vice president of the Islamic Development Bank, and also the president of Kuwait Finance House in Turkey, and have all confirmed, that business angel, yes, it's one of the principles of Islamic finance. If I would like just to ask you this question, how do you see the weakness or strengths today of business angels' activities in the MENA region?
Yeah.
And I would like to suggest maybe later on, because now we're developing several programs with the Arab Union of Chambers, how to support innovation entrepreneurship. So I think maybe we can have an agreement with the World Business Angel Forum, how we can work with the Arab chambers.
Yeah, I think investors of the region prefer investing in what they see with their own eyes. For example, real estate. It is something that they can touch, and they see it with their own eyes, and they don't enjoy investing in the dreams of young people. This is what I observe. As a matter of fact, investing in dreams of young people has a good potential, better potential than investing in the real estate. Why? Because OECD statistics show that 1.2% of entrepreneurs in the world are able to reach finance. And one entrepreneur who reached finance in every 10 entrepreneurs is able to create a global success story. So yes, it seems that it is a risky issue, but return of investment is really valuable for investors. Because in the next 5 to 7 years, they can make a good exit with a minimum 20 multipliers. And this is not something that they can get as a return of investment when they invest in a real estate industry. But you have to work. I mean, when you invested in real estate, it stands there, you make money. But when you invest in startups, in innovators, you also have to work with them for developing a business model. You should share your know-how. You should also put a roadmap. So I think also in the morning session today, in the first panel discussion, one of the ministers, one of the panel speakers highlighted the importance of the mindset change. This is very, very important for this region.
Thank you, Bebers. I would like now to move to look at the some of the national practices, and we're having with us Dr. Hussam Farid. He's the advisor to the Minister of Advisor to the Ministry for MSMEs and Entrepreneurship at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in Egypt. Egypt, we say, if we take figures, maybe we say it represents 25% in terms of population for the Arab region. And if we say that we need to create 100 million jobs, it means in Egypt we have to have a vision how we can work and expedite creating 25 million jobs by the year 2025. So we're very delighted to have you here. And if you can tell us what is the ministry strategy on the roadmap to support startups and growth of SMEs in Egypt?
Well, I thank you very much, Dr. Hashim, and everyone in here for the kind invitation. I'm delighted to be among you today, and I must tell you that the 100 million jobs that you're talking about, it has been allocated, that 80 of which are allocated in Egypt in the next 10 years. So when you look at Egypt and the potential of job creation required from the government as a practice to employ the Egyptian youth, the numbers say that within the next 10 years, there are 80 million entries to the marketplace in Egypt. And I'll tell you a very quick story so everyone can understand the demographics, how we are working in Egypt. When you look at our trade balance, you find end of year 2018 that the Egyptian exports without the petroleum products represented 25 billion US dollars. And the imports represented 70 billion US dollars, with a deficit of approximately 45 billion US dollars. And when you look at that, and about 65% of our population is below the age of 30, and you have 1 million kilometers a distance of a nation with 28 governorates, you find that you really need to empower entrepreneurship and MSMEs nationwide on all parameters. As Ministry of Trade and Industry, when we start looking into the matter closely, there was a unit called MISMEDA. It's micro and small medium enterprises, and that was a unit that belongs or under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and our first call was this entity has to be an independent body that reports to the Prime Minister or reports to the President, because MSMEs is not only trade and industry, it's a cross-cutting sector with all services and industries. But from our industry parameter, when we have done our analysis, we looked and found the following. Most of the youth and people that would like to start their projects would rather tend to start their projects away from the industry. And when we started looking at the reasons why, it was very clear to us that industry means initial investment that is quite higher relatively than when you look at IT or when you look at services or mobile apps or anything like that. So we started looking, how can we enable the youth, if any young little girl or a boy that would like to start something that has to do with manufacturing, how we can make their life easier. And we have started working on a national program for localization and export maximization that has been just approved by the Economical Cabinet and by President Sisi 2 weeks ago. And simply we found out that in order to enable this environment and to attract the informal sector to our formal economy, and the informal sector in Egypt is assumed to be, if not the same size as the formal sector, it would be bigger in some areas. And this is where it comes the inclusion parameter and how to do it. And we found out that in order to enhance the MSME's environment and entrepreneurship, we need to have the key word that we used as the enabling. Enabling the people with access to finance, access to technology, access to information, access to market, access to legislation that would allow them to be encouraged in a workplace that would enable them. And the access to finance was relatively, surprisingly, the easiest one of them. Because when we were learning the best practices worldwide, we found a couple of models that have been applied in countries in the West and in the East, which basically enables some middle partners like venture capitals or any of that kind to come in together with the bank that would allow the entrepreneur or the industrial entrepreneur to have a minimal cost participation in the project, which would encourage them to be going more for the industrial entrepreneurship in all. Also, we have just finished about 14 industrial clusters on 456 FIDANs that would be on 7 governorates in Egypt to enable the youth to come, and these are ready-made facilities, factories with their licenses and everything for the youth to come in just with the concept. And we have already some products and projects for the youth to select from, because we know our import-export parameters and we know which industries are the industries that we are in need to have more localization. So this is one great parameter that we are doing for the informal sector and for the youth inclusion in the economy at large. As for women, well, women in Egypt nowadays are enjoying very much larger parameters. We have, by constitution, 25% of our parliament is women. We have in our cabinet about 14% of the ministers are women, so women are taking very long portions in Egypt now, and men must take care of themselves in the next future so they don't lose their jobs in Egypt. Yeah. So that's, in quite brief, what we're doing lately for the MSMEs and entrepreneurship environment.
Thank you. Thank you, Farid. I would like from the floor, if Dr. Sarah If we can have a microphone. Dr. Sara, she's the Dean of International Transport and Logistics at the Arab Academy for Science and Technology and Maritime Transport, and she's also an advisor for the Arab Union of Chambers and Commerce and Industry, because I know now we're working how to enhance innovation, entrepreneurship through universities. And this is going to be not only for Egypt, but it's going to be for all the Arab countries. Now we're formulating a program through the Arab Union of Chambers and Commerce and Agriculture on how we can, because the educational system is one of the most important support activities which will allow us to support and develop, at least to start looking into the target of how we can bring 100 million jobs into the marketplace.
أسامة العرايب برا قال هو هيخرج.
اوكي.
فتلهم وين تكمل.
ممكن الحين بعد ما تخلص.
خليه يفوت.
Thank you for this. Actually, when we talk about encouraging the entrepreneur spirit and encouraging the youth to start their own businesses, as mentioned by many speakers now, the fund is already available, the ecosystem is there, but actually the main problem is the know-how, the education. So our role actually is to start to create the awareness. As mentioned by statistical records, that we can provide chance for more than 10 people, but at the end of the story, one only will be a success story and will achieve the expectation from being an entrepreneur. So actually having the education is something very important, and that's what we need to do, is to create the awareness through the education by creating the incubation management system and start to encourage different youth how to be able to create their own business. The know-how is something very important actually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And vis-a-vis what we need to do in the Arab region with the Arab Union of Chambers, how the Academy is envisaging to support other academic institutions, universities, or even at the school level.
The Arab Academy is one of the Arab League Institute. Actually, we provide the educational service for 22 countries under the umbrella of Arab region. And by having a chamber of commerce at different Arab country, we can provide the service of educational consultancy for different chambers around the Arab countries, and our umbrella would be actually the Arab Union of Chambers, because actually in the Arab Union of Chambers as umbrella for all Arab chambers everywhere in Arab countries, we can start our program and start to build like a system that can serve different Arab countries. We will start by the idea of creating the awareness first about the entrepreneur system, about the incubation management system, and then once we feel that we are ready to start the creation of incubators in different chambers around the Arab world, we can say that this is the second step. But as mentioned at the beginning, the main point here is to start creating awareness about the entrepreneur spirit and how we can start a successful business. The ecosystem is here. We are talking about the private sector. We are talking about the governmental bodies. We are talking about the financial institutions. We are talking about the different business opportunities and the think tank to create the different ideas. But actually, the main issue is how to connect all these together in order to create a good opportunity for youth in order to start their ideas and successful business.
Thank you. Actually, we'd like to announce in June we're going to launch a tripartite program between the Arab Union of Chambers and the Arab Academy for Science and Technology and UNIDO ITPO Bahrain and the Arab International Center for Entrepreneurship. We're going to launch this program that through universities and the chambers we will work in enhancing the ecosystem because this is one of the most important setups. The ecosystem, but the anchor of the ecosystem should be education, because one of the problems facing this developing the ecosystem is our classic education systems, that it does not lead to innovation entrepreneurship. Actually, it we call it, it kills innovation and entrepreneurship.
And that's why I need to share our experience over the last year with the audience here. We started to enter the subject of entrepreneur as part of our educational system in universities, because actually, you know, for any student, in order to be graduated, he has to prepare the graduation project. And the graduation project, we used to make it like a classical procedure in order to be graduated. This is not the story now. We start a connection with the industry to know exactly what are the needs of the industry and what are the areas that they need to start making more effort in order to enhance. And based on this, we started to guide the students to prepare their graduation projects only based on the ideas created by the industry. And in order to support the students to make their projects more applied and more down to earth, connected with the industry, we supported the students with the entrepreneur subject in order to learn how to prepare a creative project. And actually, we believe in this a lot, and that's why we created the Entrepreneur Center in Arab Academy. The Entrepreneur Center not only to help the students inside the university, but also to help all youth around the Arab world, since we are one of the Arab League Institute. And I'm very happy to announce today the collaboration will be between UNIDO, Bahrain, and Arab Chamber and the Arab Academy in order to enhance the awareness in the Arab world about the entrepreneurial spirit, because actually we have great power we shouldn't underestimate, which is our youth. The population of the Arab countries mainly in the age between 15 and 35, which is mainly the youth. And that's why we need to invest more in this. Creating jobs, which is the many challenge that we face in Arab countries, will not be solved unless we are trying to find new solutions. And this is mainly through the entrepreneur. The governments will not be able anymore to just try to find a way to recruit people or pretending that they are recruiting people, because actually there is no place in the governmental institutions to create more jobs for new youth or for the new generation, and that's why we need to encourage the idea of entrepreneur. And we can say that around 85% of the international economy based on SMEs. And if we know about, this piece of information, we can tell that this is the future of our youth. Again, my last word, the ecosystem is here available in Arab countries, and we support youth with all what they are needed in order to start. But actually, the main challenge will be the education, and that's why we are here. Thank you for this.
Thank you. Actually, I'm very proud and honored that we have assisted in the establishment of the incubator at the academy, and Dr. Wael is with us here. He has been trained he and a team from the academy in Alexandria and in Bahrain. And it's one of the most successful incubators in Egypt, and I know that you're helping other universities. We would like to invite Mr. Osama Al-Araid, the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Industry and Commerce and Tourism. We are celebrating, it is a festival for us, to graduate a number of entrepreneurs from Bahrain through the Arab model. Fadal Ustaz Osama will be here. كيف اخبارك؟ شرفتونا، تفضل. دكتور خالد حنفي، الامين العام لاتحاد الغرف العربيه، سربايبرز، بزنس. لا انت اقرا الاسامي. انت خليك من هنا، خليك معنا دكتور. تفضل افتح. والله عدد كبير، الله يعيننا. يلا تفضل.
فاطمة المنصوري.
اخذ فاطمة المنصوري. تفضل. مبروك.
موفقة.
مبروك فاطمة.
مرحبا. عليكم السلام.
حياك. مبروك.
مريم عيسى.
عبد الرحمن اقرا اللي بعديه عشان تفضل حياكي. تفضلي. ريد
سريع.
اللي بعده على طول.
ريان
على بعضه على
محمد.
طول يا عبد الرحمن عشان يوقفوا الصف لأن عدد كبير.
قولي اللي بعدها عشان انت.
اقرا اللي بعده عبد الرحمن.
الدكتورة سوسن كمال.
احنا نفتخر بالدكتورة سوسن وهي تمثل النموذج البحريني لأنه هي انتخبت مؤخرا تكون عضو في مجلس النواب البحريني. تفضلي. هذا يثبت أنه تمكين المرأة اقتصاديا بيمكنها سياسيا واجتماعيا. الله يخليك دكتورة، بارك الله فيك.
انفال القيسي. انفال القيسي، تفضلي.
اللي بعده طوال عبد الرحمن.
اوكي. انا انكودينا. انا انكودينوفا.
Just wait. Just wait. Please. You know, our program in Bahrain, it's support Bahraini entrepreneurs and also expats living in the country. Yes,
Damodara
thank you.
Haridas.
مبروك. احنا البرنامج ده برضه بنعمله للاكسباتس لانه عندهم افكار مشاريع وبيخلقوا وظائف.
سلمان جناحي.
اللي بعده طوالي عشان يقوموا في الصف. اللي بعده عبد الرحمن. سلام الرحمة. عبد الرحمن اللي بعده لو بس
ياسمين النيروت.
اللي بعد قول اللي بعد. وليس النيروت.
نعم.
عبد الله كاظم.
مبروك.
فاطمة سعيد.
مبروك. مبروك فاطمة.
يلا اللي بعده.
سكينة الحسيني.
مبروك.
بتول الموسوي.
على طول.
شريف الخليفي.
طب لو حبيت الغي رجوع على مصر الطيران وارجع على دي ايه اللي يحصل؟
مبروك.
أسامة مدبولي.
اقول الاسم.
مبروك.
شريف الذوادي.
شريفة مبروك.
علي الجنيد.
شريفة من رواد الأعمال الزراعيين. مبروك.
بدري عبد الرحمن.
مبروك مبروك.
مها علي.
مبروك.
صباح العلوي. سارة طاهر.
كلهم اتدربوا عندكم؟
نعم.
ممتاز.
يتقدموا احنا بنخرجهم بعد ما يعملوا البزنس بلان.
غريتاف أبول.
شفته في المركز اللي أنا
نعم، وعادة بيخرجهم الوزير. كل congratulations. احنا
إبراهيم العريفي.
كل 3 أسابيع بناخد مجموعة من 15 ل 20 بشكل دوري.
كويس انك خليتهم يحضروا السيشن عملوا
اي نعم.
جو.
ما انتربرنورشيب.
يوسف بوهزاع.
جيمنج هذا مسؤول عن
نيفيديتا
جمعية في
دافت
جمعية
بيل.
الجيمنج. هذا بزنس بقول لك انه في المنطقة the growing business about $5 billion.
طبعا.
نيفيس congratulations.
عرفهم بالواحد.
خليفة
طبعاً.
الذوادي.
يا خليفة مبروك.
جيهان يحيى.
مبروك يا جهان مبروك.
كريستين كامينيتي.
استراليا.
Congratulations.
Congratulations كريستين.
هناء أسعد.
كويس انك مدخل اكسباتريت كمان، يعني حركة
هي طبعا
حلوة،
لانه
ذكية.
عندهم ideas and they can
طبعاً.
create jobs.
لا وكمان في الجروب يعمل نوع من المينجلينج حلو
إيه
جدا.
نعم. وكلهم عندهم مشاريع رائعة.
عبير مقبل.
مبروك. مبروك حياك تفضلي.
روان المشاقبة. عبد الرزاق نور. أمل عتيق.
مبروك. احنا عندنا نسبة البارتيسيبيشن النسائية
أنفال عبد الرحمن.
مبروك. واضح.
وبعدين هم أسرع في إنشاء مشاريعهم ونمو مشاريعهم.
عبد الله مبارك.
مبروك يا عبد الله. اللي بعده عبد الرحمن.
إدوارد تاندان.
اللي بعده عبد الرحمن.
هديل حسن. حنان عبد الرضا. محمد عبد العال. أميرة نور. نجيب العوضي.
مبروك.
بيرل سليمان. رملة بن طالب.
مبروك.
يوسف حكيم.
تونس الخضراء.
محمد البعينين. ياو منساه كوامي. بسمة أحمد. علي عبد الكريم العلي.
بيجي بيكون عندهم افكار مشاريع بندربهم على اساس انه كده خطه العمل وبيشارك فيها كل من شغال في الايكو سيستم. يعني بيجي بنك البحر للتنميه، بيجي تمكين وزاره الصناعه والتجاره، كل الجهات الداعمه لرواد الاعمال.
جاسم محمد سيف.
ده البرنامج معنا بشكل عام، وهم دول بيطلعوا بمشاريع وات ذا سيم تايم بنبتدي معاهم البرنامج
مريم المنصوري.
مباشره بعد الاسبوعين بنبتدي معاهم الكونسلنج عشان قبل الكونسلنج لازم يفهموا كيف تديفلوب ذا بزنس بلان والاشكاليات ويعرفوا شو
عبد النبي عبد الرحيم.
اللي موجوده في البلد. لا احنا مثلا بكره مثلا راح اكون موجود. عملنا حاجه اسمها اولمبياد
عبد الكريم السادة.
للتربيه شخصيا، واخذنا السنه دي 8 مدارس 4 بنات و4 بنين كتجربه. ومشاريع رائعه هي كلها في الانوفيشن.
أنفال عبد الرحمن.
يس وكلها لها علاقه بالانوفيشن ونعمل معرض. جدا ما ده الاقتراح. الله يخليك، شكرا جزيلا بارك الله فيك. مشكورين ونهني كل رواد الاعمال اللي هم طبعا بدوا حياتهم الرياديه، وطبعا يعني دي اول خطوه، لكن ان شاء الله زي ما شايفين ايضا في عدد من رواد الاعمال اللي هم نجحوا بالمصابره وبالدعم من الجهات المختلفه، وبالذات وزاره الصناعه والتجاره والسياحه برئاسه الاستاذ زايد راشد الزياني، لانه هذا البرنامج هو بدا مع الوزاره من قبل 18 سنه وكللته كثير من النجاحات في مملكه البحرين واكثر من 52 دوله. نشكركم مره اخرى لكل الدعم اللي بتقدموه رواد الاعمال، شكرا جزيلا. الله يخليك، شكرا جزيلا. نعم ان شاء الله حنفتح باب الاسئله. حاضر. انت قولي، تفضل.
طبعا نسمع والله لا. احنا طبعا نبارك لكل المتخرجين اليوم، ونتمنى من السيدات اللي تخرجوا اليوم ينضمون إلى جمعية سيدات الأعمال البحرينية. كما تعلمون أن رسالة من الدكتور هاشم إخبارنا أن أنتم تخرجتوا تدخلون سنة مجانا عشان تأخذون الخبرات اللي موجودة من الجمعية، وعلى أساس أن إحنا نوصلكم بعد إلى الجهات المعنية على حسب شغل كل واحدة منكم وشنو تبون وشنو المطلوب من الجمعية. شكرا دكتور هاشم.
شكرا دائما لدعم جمعية سيدات الأعمال، لدعم رائدات الأعمال الناشئات، وأيضا طبعا اللي هم في طور النمو. افتكر عندنا مداخلة، تفضل. في افتكر ميكروفون ثاني. Can we have another microphone?
It works. Hello. Can you hear me, Doctor?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you for giving me the chance to intervene. طبعا I had a lady who spoke for half an hour, but I didn't say anything because ladies come first, you know. And it looks like the ladies took over the session today, and they're all the ones who got the promotion and the certificate. Thank God we had one man, I think, or two men who did it. So don't be on the side of only ladies. We are Bahrain. We are half ladies, half men. Anyway. I just want to say, I'm not going to go as long as some other people talk, but I will say one thing. I heard the morning panel, I heard the speaker, I heard everything from the morning till now. But I want to say that if we want to go globally, we have to first think locally. Here in Bahrain, we have pillars in our, that can really help the entrepreneurs. Sorry, let me introduce myself. I'm the advisor to the SME Society in Bahrain. I have my friend, engineer, I think he's still here. Engineer Abdurrahim Fakhr was sitting somewhere. Don't know where he is. But anyway, I want you to know that when we made a survey with entrepreneurs in Bahrain, they tell us the real story. We told them, if you don't want to be frank, don't talk to us. Come tell us exactly what is hindering your progress, what is standing in your way, where are the challenges. I knew Dr. Hashim from a long time ago when he was struggling from the beginning with his incubator and trying to put things in perspective and trying to help the young people stand on their feet. But after that, there is a gap. The Tamkeen, who did the whole thing, are great people, but they have their empire by themselves. EDB, also another empire, and you have the Bahrain Development Bank, and you have the Ministry of Education by itself, and you have the Ministry of Labor, and you have the Chamber of Commerce. But what we are missing here is the proper link between all of these.
The ecosystem, yeah.
And the poor entrepreneurs, I feel bad for them because I feel the only thing I can do is go and fight with those guys. But I'll do my best. But at least if we really want to go globally and have the world help us, first we have to help ourselves. That's all. I don't want to go longer than that. It will be too challenging, but I think it's enough. Thank you very much.
شكرا يا دكتور. تفضل.
Thank you, Dr. Dhafar Al-Amran, for your SMEs survey. But in Bahrain, as you know, first of all, we are supported by our leaders from His Royal Highness, the King of Bahrain, and the Royal Prime Minister, and our Crown Prince. We have a Supreme Council for Women who are empowering the women specifically in all aspects, mainly in different sectors. And we are very proud that women is being empowered in Bahrain locally and internationally. Regarding the connection, Dr. Hashim, he always opened doors with the officials to the entrepreneurs who've been graduated newly. And we are, as a Bahrain Businesswomen Society as well, we lead the members to different officials. Tamkeen, with many thanks, they are having a lot of programs for all the private sectors, entrepreneurs or SMEs or even big companies, even foreign investment, foreign investor companies, where if now these days, you can just click the website and find what is your requirement, and you can apply and you can get according to your needs of business. I believe that the entities need more to concentrate, to work together, but we have all the connection that each one of us can get what she wants. The problem here, the entrepreneurs, they have to move forward to look for what they need in their businesses and not the official entities.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like now to move to Mr. Amir Abu Bakr. Amir Abu Bakr, he is a business counselor. He's a certified business counselor. He's in the domain of entrepreneurship and innovation over the last 20 years. And he's our team leader in Sudan. And actually, we have invited him because now we're developing a very prosperous program with the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development, where now we have developed a center for agripreneurs, which will help entrepreneurs in the whole Arab region. You know, one of the largest sectors which employ people in the Arab region till today is agriculture. But one of the problems and the challenges there is agro-processing. You know, we you know, there is a loss in the agricultural products every year between 30 to 40% because of the issue of that they have not been processed, you know, from different kind of industrial processing for agro products. Just recently, the board of the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development have approved that the organization should focus on small farmers, or what we call them agropreneurs, to take the lead in the agricultural development in the Arab region. So, Mr. Amir, if you can tell us on the program which have been now in Sudan for more than 12 to 13 years, and actually it was through the support of the Khartoum Bank. Khartoum Bank is the largest commercial bank in Sudan, and actually the first time that UNIDO have signed a project document agreement to be financed by a commercial bank, and even in an LDC, a least developing country, it was Sudan. The bank have financed all our program to provide non-financial services to their clients. This same program we have developed with the National Bank of Egypt, where we have worked in certifying the financial business counselors in all their branches. And we've been doing the same in Morocco. We have been doing the same, of course, in Bahrain. This is our way when we talk about incubation management system, but mainly on the financial inclusion part of it. So please, Mr. Amir.
Actually, our program, Enterprise Development and Investment Promotion, which we are conducting now in Sudan, is focusing on enhancing and mobilizing the entrepreneurial and innovation ecosystem in the country. So far, we succeeded in establishing about 5 centers, 2 centers at universities and 2 centers at banks and 1 center government institution, and we have 2 centers now under establishment. One is in the National Research Center, and the other in the other university in Sudan. Through these centers, what we are doing, we are actually enhancing the entrepreneurial and innovation culture within the Sudanese community. What we are doing, we are assisting those who have ideas to transfer this idea into a new venture. Another activity we are doing is to assist existing enterprises into going from small to medium and large enterprises, and eventually to strategic business. Another activity we are doing is developing a cadre of trainers, counselors, who can assist especially university graduates in transferring innovation into innovation. Another activity we are doing is we are introducing entrepreneurship as a part of the curriculum of Sudanese universities, so that to introduce entrepreneurship as one of the topics that introduced in the curriculum of the university itself. Another activity that we are doing, we are trying to mobilize also and to assist those who are working in the informal sector and assisting them in transferring to the formal sector. This is in a nutshell what we are doing in Sudan.
And what about the Organization for Agricultural Development? What is now their vision in developing agro-poles and developing, supporting what we call rural women, mainly farmers in the Arab region?
Okay. Actually, the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development, which is headquartered in Khartoum, is establishing this center within its premises to assist in establishing agro-pole in all the Arab countries. So far, we did the training program for about 17 ladies from Ministry of Agriculture, and through this initiative, we are trying to establish centers within Ministry of Agriculture in all these countries, and the main aim of these centers is to create and to enhance entrepreneurship, innovation within the agriculture sector, especially processing. We are going to work on the value chain of agriculture production, processing, and marketing at the end of the day.
Yes, and actually we have started also a program here in Bahrain with the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development for rural women focal point at the different Arab countries. Shukran, Doctor. We had about 16 focal points that were here in Bahrain We train them on the program, on how to support entrepreneurs and how we develop the programs at the different country level. Mainly they were employee or staff of the Ministry of Agriculture from the different Arab countries, because this is going to be a very focused program to support women entrepreneurs in the agribusinesses in the Arab region. Actually, one of the main activities which have already started is the agropole in Iqlim al-Kharroub in Lebanon, where it is an economic zone, mainly to support entrepreneurs from farming to agribusiness. There is going to be a number of incubators. Mr. Bibers was with us in Beirut a few months back. He visited the region by itself. We are going to launch it, inshallah, also with the support of the Arab Union of Chambers of Commerce and Industry and Agriculture, under the patronage of His Excellency Saad al-Hariri, the Prime Minister of Lebanon, sometime toward the end of June. This is going to be a pioneer program for a cluster of a number of enterprises in the agribusinesses. We are discussing the same with Mauritania and also with Morocco. In our endeavor, to support the ecosystem, we have to look vividly and continuously on what are the best practices and programs we have to bring to develop micro and small businesses. But as of today, I'm very satisfied, me myself, being into that business over the last 30 years. I think right now we are into the right directions in the Arab region to say that yes, we started to develop the whole puzzle and the whole niche for developing the ecosystems, from education to economic infrastructure like incubators, like science and technology parks, like accelerators, working with education, working with financial institutions, working with policy advisors, women empowerment. All of this now, it is on the right track in the Arab region. I would like now to, before giving the floor to Dr. Khalid, if we can see a video statement from Her Excellency, which she couldn't be with us here today, but she's provided us with a video tape on. She's also our ambassador of creativity. She will enlighten us on their programs.
Time is changing. Challenges are to be confronted. It's necessary in this panel to discuss the SDGs and how to achieve the growth of economy that is global, strong, and sustainable. Michael Spence, a Nobel Prize winner economist, said, "Structural flexibility is correlated to strong global economy growth." It's necessary and it is requested that governments and businesses invest in education, in infrastructure, in knowledge-based and technology-based economy, but without a plan of action. What is required? What is necessary to be done as a set of action to achieve our goals? For many years, efforts continue to support involvement and development of women, entrepreneurship, and creativity. Lately, in Lebanon, there was the Arab Business Forum, and a lot of recommendations came to support women in all the three that I have mentioned: entrepreneurship, empowerment, and creativity. The relevance of all these issues is continued to be coming in every conference we go to. But have there been any plan of action? Has there been any strategy to achieve that? That is what we really need to consider during our discussions. In the Kingdom of Bahrain, in the late 70s, under the umbrella of the Ministry and Social Development, the project of Productive Family was launched. A lot have been benefiting, and the center is progressing with individuals who have a diversified income to assist them with their living. 20 years ago, UNIDO has launched the program of incubators, and that also allowed individuals to benefit from the incubators and the technical support, allowing their businesses to flourish. Recently, and at the level of social institutions, the Bahrain International Federation for Business and Professional Women has launched, similar to the UNIDO project, incubators to accommodate Bahrainis, young men and women who have talent and who promote their business through the incubators, through training that will enable them to polish their skills. We felt that in the short period of the center, we have achieved results, overwhelming results, and the individuals have represented Bahrain in international venues. They represented our mission and vision. In Matera in 2015, we have individuals from Bahrain who also contributed to the venue with their products. In 2016, we have been to Vienna.
50 years anniversary, which is training of women entrepreneurs for 20 years, supported by the government of Bahrain.
We have 4 of our entrepreneurs here with us, and I congratulate them for the appearance to be in Vienna. And that was to commemorate the UNIDO's celebration of 20-year anniversary of being in Bahrain. Lately, in Abu Dhabi, we have been also with Bahraini caliber who showed their products and learned from the experience and shared with others. In that as well, Bahrainis were representing our mission and vision.
Thank you for Sheikha Hind for this statement. I will now, give the floor for the guru in the Arab countries to have this big responsibility and challenges, what we have just discussed and presented. And we would like to know what is the vision, the strategy, and the way of the road ahead from the perspective of the Arab Union of Chambers and Commerce and Industry and Agriculture, where, of course, they are the leaders and the supporters of the private sector in the Arab countries.
Thank you very much. It's really my pleasure being here today, especially in this panel when we celebrated the graduation of some of the people that they started the journey of having their business as entrepreneurs prepared by UNIDO Bahrain, and it's a great model. And as we saw over here, that the group was really diversified from gender perspective, diversified from even country of origin, sectors, and so on, which is something that should be recognized, that the model of UNIDO Bahrain over here is serving not only the local community, but also goes beyond this. What we see in the Union of Arab Chambers as representative of the private sector in the Arab region and our arms that exist in some other places in America and Europe and so on, that we believe in synergy and collaboration. So that's why what we agreed upon is that we need to collaborate with different entities, as mentioned by Mr. Hashim here, that we are going to have a project jointly between UNIDO Bahrain, the Arab Academy for Science, Technology and Maritime Transport, and the Union of Arab Chambers. Under this, we believe that when it comes to entrepreneurs or innovation, as mentioned here, that we should understand that the difference between invention and innovation. And the idea now is not going through the invention process. The idea here is the to convert this invention into business in the real world. And again, we should not all the time target being people like Amazon or like Galaxy or like whatever. We need people to find jobs, to have their own businesses, to have their own jobs. Later on, we can aggregate and gather those small and producers into something better. But the challenges that face the Arab countries are not stylized, are not common. So having segregation and understanding each of the Arab countries and even each region in each country is something very important. So we cannot generalize, we cannot have a standardized system to serve all the countries, all the regions. What we agreed upon is that we need to go to people in their places, like the example of the Kharroub project or others, that we need to have small clusters, even if the clusters are virtual clusters, to have people, as Dr. Sarah mentioned, having the awareness, first of all, to understand what we're talking about, to have them motivated to be engaged in their own businesses, then to have the knowledge, the minimum knowledge needed for starting their own businesses. In some cases, what we need is just to empower people and to make them get employed with a real productive business. The SDGs here, talking about the growth, talking about the employment. So we have to target this first of all, that the number of people unemployed in the region is really huge. And the problem is not just having people explicitly unemployed in an open unemployment system, but even the disguised unemployment, the underemployment is a real problem. So what we agreed upon is that we are going to start having system in different countries based on the chambers. Under the umbrella of the Union of Arab Chamber, we have the 22 countries. In each country, there are different chambers in countries. For example, in Egypt, we have like 27 chambers. And each chamber is located in a certain governorate or a region. So accordingly, we can start having, jointly with the Arab Academy, the educational and training arm over here, of course, the UNIDO Bahrain, is to have a model to be delivered in each place. The model that will be delivered is not just an educational model. It's not just a business model. It's not just a training model. It's something that gathers all these towards an objective. In some cases, the objective is to make people get engaged in a real business, even if the business is very small, but this business should be related to the development strategy in the region and accordingly in the country, to make those people less mobilized from the rural areas to the cities, which is a real problem, to make these people benefit even from what they learned in their schools or universities, because in many cases in the Arab region, people get the certificate of education from the university or the school, but they feel that it's useless. They don't believe in science. They don't believe in education. So we need them to return back believing in that what they learn could be activated and could be for their benefits. So the model here is what I call it is Mi'kmaq model, is to link the micro to the macro. So each person or each individual here is trying to achieve his or her goal, micro goal, which is to be employed to gain profit. But this should be consistent with the overall goal. Later, we're going to talk with as we agreed with Dr. Hashim and the UNIDO people, is to have clusters with incubation system. The cluster here consists of a number of entities at different sizes. Some of these entities are very tiny, small entities. Others are relatively large. But the idea is to have to make the linkages, backward and forward linkages among all of them in a network system and to participate by having 4 main pillars, which is the R&D pillar, the market intelligence pillar, the training and development, the continuous training and development pillar, and the finance pillar at the end of the day, which will be like a public good to serve this community. And this community will act, it looks large, but it consists of very small entities. But if you look at it as if you are looking to a fleet of fish in the sea, it looks like a very large fish, but actually they have the same direction. So if you look from away, they move in the same direction. They get directed from outside. And thanks for the fourth industrial revolution, the artificial intelligence that will help us. Of course, there are a lot of details here that we can talk about. There are systems that should be employed, like the expert system, the artificial intelligence. But again, I'm highlighting the idea of innovation. Innovation is not to be giant. Innovation is to be able to face the challenges, to face the risk. The first step, as mentioned here by Dr. Sarah, is the awareness. People are not aware. We need to orient them. And we have to announce here that in June, we are going to sign this collectively in Beirut between the UNIDO Bahrain, the Union of Arab Chambers, and the Arab Academy for Science and Technology to start this. It could be in agriculture, but industrial agriculture. And even when we talk about small clusters like in dairy production, in whatever will be employed. It could be in service sector, it could be in the IT, it could be in the industrial, but should serve the people themselves and the idea of the fleet. Small entities having a common goal, targeting a common objective, which at the end of the day will be consistent with the overall goal of the region, the country, and finally the Arab region.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid, for this detailed information. And as I said, the responsibility now, I know it lies on the Arab Union of Chambers, but me as being working with the chamber, I have seen now there are accelerated steps, And actually what is interesting also that you are bringing everyone. You are bringing universities, financial institutions, NGOs, government bodies, and this was part of the dialogue which started with the private sector, and it has been, most of it have been accommodated and approved in the Arab Union summit, which was in Beirut and also in Tunisia. So we got the support of the decision makers to start going ahead with this. I would like also just to inform you that in November, between 11th to 13th of November, Bahrain is going to host the Arab Investor, the 19th Annual Arab Investor Summit, together with the World Entrepreneurs Investment Forum under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. What is interesting about this is the first time also within this Arab Investor Summit that we're bringing entrepreneurs, at the global level, but also, of course, we'll focus on the region. And this is, as Dr. Khalid said, between the macro and the micro, we want also our Arab investors to know and to see what are the other Arab entrepreneurs, and also will allow them to invest. Because one of the programs will be that we are going to launch through the Arab Academy a business plan competition for innovation within all the Arab universities, and we will bring them to pitch in front of the investors. And I think more and more we are going to carry on this. Also, there is going to be a parallel exhibition for Arab entrepreneurs. It's going to be for the first time to be part of the summit, and we will continue doing this in the future. Actually, the World Entrepreneurs Investment Forum, its slogan or theme is achieving entrepreneurship through, the SDGs through innovation and entrepreneurship. And this is, we started this in 2017, and then we had a communiqué, or what's called the Manama Declaration, which has been adopted and approved by the General Assembly, and it has been translated into 6 languages and been transmitted to more than 192 countries. It illustrates what we have been talking about. So we're going to zoom this, of course, taking the SDG as an umbrella, and then we will move in how we are going to support women and youth in the Arab region. I would like to have questions from the floor, and also later on maybe we can see with the World Business Angel Forum, because we're developing several programs which will be provided through the chambers. So also we can include, you know, the web programs within the chambers, because this is the private sector. But as you said, so many people are not aware, you know, what is it, how it is the mechanism. And I know that through the London Stock Exchange, even you have training programs, you know, and I think this should allow the chamber to bring this into bigger dimension in the Arab region. I would like to open the floor for questions and answers, but I think we're having Dr. Sabur Khan, the chairman of the Fudofi University. I don't know if he's here. He had a question earlier. Please, can you provide him the microphone? It's also interesting that it is a university from Bangladesh, and now they're very keen to support entrepreneurs, and we are now just formulated for them a proposal to develop an incubation management system within the Fudofi University. Please, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful discussion. And it is true that nowadays you need to make the good bridging among the, you know, the Asian country, Arabian country, because we know that a lot of the young talent is now coming, those who are coming with the smartphone technology. I'm sure that due to the smartphone technology nowadays, the people, those who are coming to this education system, they are far different than our attitude or our thinking. So that's why I should say that in Bangladesh also, we are trying to develop our student in the entrepreneurial mindset. And in our university, first time, I think 6 years back, we established Department of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So, and we also set up the business incubator and a lot of other things. And I'm sure that once upon a time, Bangladeshi people, they are quite focused for getting the job. But nowadays, it's a very surprise that the young people, their mindset is to become an entrepreneur. So that's the beauty of, I'm sure there's these sorts of bridging, what exactly the UNIDO and all of other Arab chamber is already discussing. I hope that these sorts of bridging will work more through these sorts of networking. And thank you, the Bivers is also working in the same platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Actually, one of our aims, or how we can help entrepreneurs to do business together, you know, from different parts of the world. And this is also the idea. When we develop the same unified system of incubation management system, it will allow us to breed entrepreneurs where they can speak the same language. And this is how we're going to support you in Bangladesh, inshallah, so that you can develop that center within the university, and then maybe from university, we can go to other universities. Thank you. I would like I know that our friend Dr. Wael is here. I would like if he can share with us the experience of the entrepreneurs and incubator center within the Arab Academy, which I said we're very proud that we have helped in the establishment, and how this have helped entrepreneurs from the universities or from the academy and other universities. I know also have been supporting other universities in Egypt.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hashim. Assalamu alaikum. Actually, I'm happy that with my colleague from Bangladesh, I recognized yesterday from Jen as one of the most booming ecosystems in the world, and Egypt was recognized as the country of the year by Global Entrepreneurship Network. So I'm happy to be part of that. On the other hand, I would also like to highlight that we started the entrepreneurship journey with the UNIDO 4 years ago, basically, and we are scaling very quickly in Egypt and outside Egypt as well. So we started to have several incubation programs in the country. We started with supply chain incubator, which is the first incubation focused on supply chain and logistics in the MENA region. And we are launching another incubation program focused on tourism as well. We are launching this program next month. And this was with the Arab Tourism Organization based in Saudi Arabia, which is the first incubation focused on tourism and the plan is to scale all across the Arab countries to support tourism startups and tech startups in this particular area. Also, we have, as Dr. Hashim said, we're not only focused on our students, we're focused on supporting and promoting entrepreneurship among Egyptian youth and Arab youth as well. So we launched for the third year in a row, a national entrepreneurship competition called the Entrepreneurs Rally Competition, where we provide support and technical support and mentorship to youth and to young entrepreneurs, and offering them at the end of the competition a pre-seed fund to start their businesses. So yes, universities have a big role in promoting entrepreneurship and raising awareness among young generations, because they are facing real challenges, especially with their mindset and with the parents' mindset as well, not only the students themselves. So their parents are usually resistant to this kind of unclear future, what's next, what's the future of entrepreneurs, so they are not usually supporting that. And we have a program where we engage the students, their parents, and we engage the faculty members as well, because they are the enablers. So we work on the three-pillar program, and I'm very happy to be here, because when we started all that, we started with Dr. Hashim in Bahrain, and the pre-incubation model and incubation model and acceleration model with UNIDO. So yes, it really helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weil. Thank you very much. Yes?
Yes, thank you very much for your presentations. I'm coming from the education background as well, and I have just a few questions. I think you already embedded this and introduced this in the education sector in Bahrain, which is basically bringing a curriculum for entrepreneurs at a younger age, in high school level and even middle school level. What have the other mindsets from Sudan and also from Egypt and other countries done in terms of that? And what curriculum can we embed it also in Bahrain to buff it and to enrich it for young entrepreneurs at a younger age? Because we always think about university students, but we're never looking at the younger age, where they are being more motivated and they have the innovation and creativity skills at a younger age. Thank you.
Well, this is very interesting. Actually, we have developed a curriculum in support of UNESCO 15 years back. It started with vocational schools from the age of 12 to 16. And now also we're developing, and we have Mr. Al-Qadi is there, who was in charge of the program, and he's retired. He's from Egypt, but now he's also a citizen, but still following tentatively the program. And now we are applying it in all schools. And interesting enough that we are having after tomorrow, under the patronage of the Minister of Education, the School Olympics, where we have taken 8 schools. This is a pilot this year. Next year is going to be for all the schools, 4 girls and 4 boys. And we have trained a focal point, at 2 focal points at each school on the program on how to boost innovation and entrepreneurship. And also there were 2 volunteers or entrepreneurs volunteers for each school over the last 6 months. And now we are having 16 shortlisted, very innovative. I have visited several schools. I was inspired about the level of innovation of these kids. They're having in mind that the future, you know. And there are going to be 3 winners, which is going to be announced next Thursday with the presence of the Minister of Education himself. We have been also working in Sudan, we did the same in Sudan we started with the agricultural schools and industrial vocational schools, but now it's also with all the schools. We did the same in Morocco at the different levels. Yes, at the beginning we started with universities because we wanted to ensure that these newcomers into the market as graduates, that they can be future entrepreneurs. But over the last 10 to 12 years, we started to focus also more at the school levels because, and we had just last year, we had the International Conference for Education to boost innovation and entrepreneurship. We have it in Bahrain last year. We're going to have it this year. And it was the first time where we have been linking schools and universities. And we've been saying that there should be a unified curriculum from the school level to the university. And this is something now we're applying in Sudan. It's working with the with the Ministry of Higher Education and the Ministry of Education. We are developing that linkages, because as you study geography or you study science, you know, there is I don't know, at primary school or secondary or the university, it follow a pattern. And we said the same thing have to be for entrepreneurship. We have to have a curriculum. We expand from school level, from primary up to the universities. Fadal, Doctor.
Actually, it's a very good question. And I'll take what Dr. Sarah mentioned here, which is the awareness. The entrepreneur or the entrepreneurial spirit is something that we miss. Let's admit this. That we miss, because actually it's, of course, all the efforts that any organization does is okay and good. But in the absence of the entrepreneurial spirit, which is being able, having the courage to have the risk of even introducing a new idea, a new point of view, and this starts from the kindergarten, because the system that makes people be canned in a certain system and they have to follow the system as is totally different from a system that creates and accepts the mistakes, accepts being wrong, doing something looks funny. So this something different. So we need a real change in the awareness system for the family system. The kindergarten, it's something in the spirit, in the culture. And then later on, we can grow up till we reach the company level. And here people work for organization. They understand what organizational culture means. So the typical non-entrepreneurial culture is normally the governmental one. And the more entrepreneurial oriented is like the multinationals, when you have a CEO in the age of 30. So the change in the organizational culture is something very important as well. So again, I'll take these words that we need to work hard on creating the awareness side by building people in the universities and the schools. But the society, the environment should accept the difference, should accept the mistakes, should accept people taking the risk even of telling an idea that might look funny. But that's how societies get built, through group of small entrepreneurs. They have this courage. So this is something cultural, and we should work collectively to change this.
Yes.
I completely agree with Professor Hanefi and also with Dr. Hussein. But I think we also have to understand the importance of the investors' education. Because investing in the right team is very important for investors. But invested by the right team is important for startups, entrepreneurs. And for example, at WBAF, we launched the World Business Angel Investment Forum Business School, and we are only focusing on the education of investors. Why? Because we developed a proficiency test for investors. We wanted to understand if investors know how to invest, if they know how to assess startups, businesses, business models, if they know the term sheet terminology, how to negotiate with entrepreneurs, etc. Unfortunately, when we made this test at the London Stock Exchange first time, investors who made investment before took this test, and they couldn't take more than 70 from this test. It was interesting. Then we developed a different curriculum for investors, and now we are focusing on, for example, senior entrepreneurship, because she's talking about entrepreneurship education starting from kindergarten, but basic, and advanced. And for example, we are now working over developing an entrepreneurship education for senior entrepreneurs over 45. Because let's not forget that there are many professional people who will be retired, and they will, 12 months later after they retire, they will start looking over making something. And they will have know-how, they will have network, they will have finance, but they don't know how to launch a business.
It says digital innovation.
Yes.
And that's something now the universities are also introduced because of the app that's happening now, you know, with Apple, and you have Skype, all these applications are happening now, like you have Uber, and all these other, you know, organizations that come up with app. So this is the creativity that they're trying to introduce or embed in the universities to teach them that, you know, there's the innovation skills that is not done in a younger level, but in a more advanced level. So that's why I've seen the curriculums changed and more to do what's happening in the market. And
for example, G20's term president is Japan this year, and they took senior entrepreneurship, aging, and financial inclusion to their agenda this year. And in June, on 3rd of June, there is a roundtable about this in Tokyo, about how we can empower economies by including more senior entrepreneurs to the game.
Question, going back, sorry to interrupt, going back to your question, sir, UNIDO, that you're having education forum specifically for entrepreneurship. Is it possible to have people from different you know, sectors who cover the entrepreneurship ecosystem from around the world, like for instance from the angel investors, somebody from the education part, from you know, let's say case study from Egypt or from Morocco or from Sudan, to come to this platform when they have a larger scale where you can exchange ideas? That will make it, you know, more closer from micro to macro.
We started, as I said, we started this last year. We had a number of universities.
But it was macro, it wasn't micro.
It was for...
جامعة المملكة.
But it was for different universities, from China, from India, from Turkey, from Egypt, from Sudan, from Morocco. But also we had financial institutions were there, chambers were there, entrepreneurs were there, but the idea was just to focus on education. You know, what do we need to do to develop right curriculums for innovation and entrepreneurship? In the past, when we developed the curriculum, it was only for entrepreneurship. But over the last 7-8 years, we have realized that innovation is the mother of entrepreneurship. I would like to move to Dr. Adina, to conclude, because this is another very interesting practices. It's one of the first universities in the Arab region to develop what we call a technopole. She's the deputy dean of the College of Engineers, and this has been supported by the Islamic Development Bank. We have developed the whole soft skills for the team, and I have visited the technopole several times recently, and I was inspired صراحة بالideas which have been generated from the different faculty staff and students. Very interesting now. Most of the discussions it turned to be on education. So, so Dr. Asara, we're on the right track. Alhamdulillah.
Is it working? Yes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm Dr. Dina Muhammad Bilal. I'm from the Faculty of Engineering, University of Khartoum. University of Khartoum was initiated in 1902, but the Technopole was a soft component of the Islamic Bank of Development. It was initiated in 2016.
You see, university established in 1902, they have just established a technopole, and it is the largest and take the cream of the students in Sudan.
Yes, we have more than 22,000 students per year in the university.
And cream of the cream, you know, those are the top.
The top students in Sudan are there in our university. And in the Faculty of Engineering, we are having now the Technopole, which is a technical incubator. We have more than 15 entrepreneurs right now. We did a very good job with the UNIDO office Bahrain here. They gave us full support in our beginning. Now we're going in the right direction. What we did in our incubator briefly is that we did the TOT training of trainers for all the deans in the whole university, so as to increase the awareness of the training and awareness of the entrepreneurship and innovation. And we changed the curriculum. We inserted certain courses that are related with the entrepreneurship and the innovation. And for the very first time in the university that comes, the student come and say that they want to do their project to turn it to business. After taking this big, good information in the entrepreneurship. The other thing is that there is a very good, spirit in the students. And it's our role, I think, that we should push this one into the right direction. We have many companies right now working in different disciplines. The thing is that the incubators that should be inserted in the universities is that at the universities, we have the technical support. All the business incubators, you only have the business support, but at the universities, you have the technical support because different departments that you have in the university, they have the background knowledge that can give a very good technical support for those entrepreneurs, and they can move fast in the market.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Adina. I think over the last 2 hours, we have accumulated, a lot of information and ideas from different backgrounds, from women entrepreneurship to financial inclusions to policy and decision-maker advisors to practitioners to the private sector of the Arab region, and of course with this gathering of entrepreneurs. I think I would like to conclude by saying I believe now we're in the right direction in the Arab region. It is just for the push and the go-ahead from education, awareness, education into business. And as I said, we will be gathered again between 11th to 13th of November to demonstrate that's happening. And of course, you're going to be with us. And we're going to have a special panel to educate our private sector on how is important the business angels. I would like to thank all the panelists and thank you very much and congratulations for the entrepreneurs which graduated today, and we hope that you're going to have a bright future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations, dear.